Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie Jessica.
So today we want to make a quick video for you guys and tell you how to read more. So Mandy and I read quite a bit. Last year I read 450 books.
I read 387 books.
And so one of the questions we get quite often is, how do you guys read like that? So we wanted to give you some tips and some tricks to tell you how we read like that and what works for us, and hopefully something will resonate with you. Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are still doing our Road to 1K giveaway, and we are still giving away the Candy Steiner's Make Me Hate You from the Bell Book Box edition. This is signed by the author, and it has the sprayed edges. It's hardback. And so make sure you hit that subscribe button. When we hit 100 subscribers, we'll be giving that away. Let's get started. Mandy, what is something that we do? Like, what is your first big tip?
Well, my first big tip would be thinking about priorities. And I once heard that it's not that you don't have time for things, it's that something is not a priority. And I actually started applying that in a lot of areas in my life outside of reading. And I found it to be quite true. So I personally think that you kind of have to just start with, what are your priorities? What do you want to be doing? And allocating your time that way. So one of the things for me is I noticed I spent way too much time scrolling on my phone. And that's not a priority for me. I wasn't really getting anything out of it. Like, it's great to check in on Instagram and Facebook occasionally, but I found like that was like almost my default. Like, oh, what do I do? Oh, I'm going to check my phone. And then before you know it, like an hour's gone by. So for me, it was putting my phone away and stopping that scroll.
Yeah, and I've done the same thing. I don't spend time. My mom will call me like, "Did you see what so and so put on Facebook?" And I'm like, "No," because I'm not sitting on Facebook anymore. I get on, I'll post what I need about the kids or whatever, and then I get off. I don't spend time on Facebook. I also know that if there's certain apps that are like time suckers for me, they're like, let's say I get on TikTok. If I get on TikTok, you're like, I've been on this thing for 45 minutes and I haven't done anything. So those are ones that I tend to avoid because I know that they will suck me down a rabbit hole. Pinterest is another one that was always big for me too. Being on Pinterest and finding recipes and stuff. So like, I just monitor myself. I get on, I get what I need, and I get off. So the same idea there. You and I both don't watch TV anymore. It's a choice that we've made. I can get more fulfillment from a book that I'm reading than I can from TV. And that didn't happen overnight. That kind of progressed to that point. But we just prioritize what we want to do, and that's read.
I find reading a good book much more stimulating and fulfilling than watching TV. So if you are finding yourself struggling between, do I want to scroll on my phone or read my book or watch TV? My guess is you probably aren't reading a book that has you captivated. So check what you're reading. Find books that you love, that hold your interest, that you can't wait to pick up again. Because if you can't wait to get that book again, if that's not how you're feeling about it, then it's probably not the book for you.
Yeah, which leads us into our next point. It's okay to DNF. It's okay to say this book isn't working for me. Or it's okay to say, you know what? Because you and I are both huge mood readers. So there's times where I'm like, oh, like I have been dying to read. I've been waiting to read the newest Ruby Dixon book that came out, right? But I'm not in the mood for it. And I know that if I pick it up right now, because I'm a mood reader, I'll probably get like a chapter in and be like, I don't want to read this. So that's where you have to tell yourself it's okay to be like, I don't want to read this right now. It doesn't mean that I'm going to DNF the book. It just means that right now I am not in the mood for this book. Because if you're reading a book that you're not in the mood for or you're not liking, then you're not going to be very motivated to read that book. So find what you want to read and read it. And it's okay to say, this book ain't working for me. Let's find something else. You can go back to it later. Or it's okay to say, this book isn't working for me. I'm not going to read it, period. And be done with it.
Yes.
Yeah, we DNF books.
Don't make yourself miserable.
Yes. And once you do that, once you give yourself that permission and you start doing that, you'll notice that your book count is going up because you're going to want to read your book. If you're struggling to read your book, then you don't want to read it. So why would you do that to yourself? So yeah. And then, so for me, a huge thing for me, and I know you do this too, just probably not as much as me, is Audible. Audible is huge, or audiobooks. There's more than just audio, and I'll let Mandy talk to you guys about that. There's more than just Audible. I'm a huge Audible book person. I have, I listen to mine at a very quick speed, which is something that you work your way up to. You don't have to, but it helps me to engage. And then I can, like, if I'm driving, I can listen to it at work when I'm busy with just like little busy things where I don't have to like really think. They're just kind of just mundane tasks. I can listen to my book. I listen to my books when I'm cleaning. I listen to my books when I'm cooking if somebody doesn't need my attention. I always have an audiobook going. And I listen to mine fast, but I didn't do that like right off the get-go. I started out at the average speed, and then I would bump it up a little bit. And when my brain would get used to that, then I would bump it up a little more. If there's an accent, then sometimes I have to slow it down depending on the thickness of the accent and what type of accent it is. So yeah.
So also for audio, Audible, you can have an Audible membership and you get so many credits. And then if you use all your credits, you become sad, like me.
There's also the option to purchase more credits.
Yes, you can purchase more, but if you're trying to save some money, you can go to your local library and you can do this all online. And you can check out ebooks and you can check out audiobooks. Now, granted, they do not have the selection that Audible will have, but I have been able to find quite a few books that I want to listen to from my local library. And then that is absolutely free, which is fantastic.
You also have the option of using Libby. Libby is a library borrow audio app. And you don't have to stick with your local library when you're on Libby. You can use like the big New York libraries and get audio from them as well. So those are some of your other options. There's also Scribd and a few others that have there's like a monthly fee involved. It's like $5 or something. I don't use it. I just spend all my money at Audible, but that's okay.
Libby is what I use for my library.
Libby, yes. You don't have to stick with just your local library, because if that was the case, I wouldn't have anything. There's not a lot of options at the local library. But you also listen to audiobooks when you're out in the barn and stuff too, right?
Yes. So when I am doing chores, like I have a mini farm. So when I'm out in the barn, when I'm walking fence lines, all of that stuff, I used to listen to music and now I listen to books.
Yeah.
And it really helps pass the time for those tedious chores.
Mm-hmm. Which again leads us to our next point. Always have a book with you. We always do. Because of these apps, I always have an audiobook going. I always have a book on my phone and my Kindle app, and I always have my Kindle with me. So if I'm waiting for the kids at a doctor's appointment, I'm reading. Instead of reading a magazine in the doctor's office, which they don't do anymore since COVID, so you're just going to sit there and stare at the TV or the wall, I read my book. If I'm waiting in line at the grocery store, I'm reading my book. If I'm sitting in the car for some reason waiting on the kids, I'm reading a book or listening to a book. If I'm driving, I'm listening to a book. I always have a book going.
Yes. So that would be my next tip is Kindle and Kindle Unlimited. So like Jessica said, Kindle goes everywhere. So it fits right into my purse and I do not leave home without it.
My purse is bigger because my Kindle is bigger. I love my 10-inch, but yes. We have to do a separate video for that. I tried the Fire and I did not like it. I love my Kindle Paperweight. But you started out with the Paperweight. I started out with the Fire.
Yes.
So but we'll talk about that. Paperweight. We'll talk about that some other time. But yes, I always have my Kindle with me. And if not, it's on my phone.
So on Kindle Unlimited, you can have a membership and you can read as many books as you want for free, because that was one thing that when I started reading, I was ordering my books and I was like, oh my gosh, this is getting so expensive. I can't keep this up. And Jessica was like, you really need to get a Kindle and you just need to like get Kindle books. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to be on an e-reader. And I decided to do it because it was just too expensive to keep reading. And I'm like, well, Kindle Unlimited is not that much money. It's like basically the cost of one book a month. And you can read as much as you want. And so I would say probably 70% of what I read is on Kindle Unlimited. I really have not found that I can't find books to read on Kindle Unlimited. Occasionally I buy ebooks, and I also will buy like real paperback books or hardback books. But the majority of my reading is on Kindle Unlimited, and it makes it so easy. It also gives you a little more freedom because when you want to DNF a book, it doesn't, you're not like,
You
oh,
didn't
I
pay
paid
for
for
it.
it. Also, Kindle, if a book requires a purchase, you can send yourself a sample and it'll send you the first few chapters so you can check to see if it's something that you're interested in or not. So you aren't stuck paying for it
I
if
do
it
that
was a book
all
that
the
you
time.
wanted.
So then the next thing is setting goals for yourself. I am a huge goal setter. Like that's like a high horse that I climb on all the time. So that one, like, we both have set goals for the year, and that's great. But sometimes that's a little overwhelming. Like Mandy and I have always like talked about how Goodreads, which we use Goodreads to track what we've read, is always Goodreads is mean this time of year, and they're like, you're behind. But so if you're looking at that big goal, sometimes that's hard. If you're like, I want to read, 20 books a year. Nobody says you have to read like we do. So you're like, I want to read 20 books a year. Maybe that 20 is a very intimidating number for you. So set your goal to, I want to read X amount a day. I want to read a chapter a day, or I want to read one book a month this year. Set yourself goals and make them realistic for you, because if you can break them down to where they're smaller, to like your daily goals or a monthly goal, it makes it less intimidating and it's easier for you to achieve your yearly goal with your reading. So Mandy, do you want to recap for us?
Yes. So to recap, set your priorities. And this is helpful in all areas of life, not just for reading. Set goals. Take advantage of audiobooks to help pass the time when you're doing those chores around the house, cleaning, all that fun stuff. Listen to an audiobook. It really makes things go by faster. And I also find that sometimes I will do more cleaning because I don't want to stop.
You just want to listen to your book.
So it actually can help you be more productive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Take advantage of ebooks, get Kindle Unlimited, and then just take advantage of all those downtimes that you have to read. And I think you'll find that your time is better used and you are more productive in your life.
It's really changed us. And like, I never read before we started a reading journey. Never. And here I'm reading 450 books a year that I enjoy. That was the other one. Don't be afraid to say, no, this isn't working for me. Don't be afraid to DNF.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that is what we have for you guys today. So hopefully one or two of these tips will help you get in another book or two, but help you to prioritize your reading a little bit more.
Drop us a book emoji in the comments today, and make sure to check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for more videos from us, and you just might find your next favorite book.
We'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.